Welcome to my first video on nodes and workers in the game Black Desert Online. In this video, we'll talk about how to acquire or get rid of workers, what their stats mean, and some of the worker types. How you can assign workers to tasks and connect nodes will be covered in the next video. Let's get started. To hire a new worker, you will first need to locate a work supervisor. This can be done by selecting the NPC button at the top right of your screen. This tab is useful for finding any number of NPCs, including storage, transport, guild, and trade managers. But for now, click the worker icon at the bottom left. This will create a path for your character to the nearest NPC of that type. You can either run along this path yourself or press T to auto-run. Once you arrive, press R to speak to the supervisor. They will have two options for contracting workers. The first is contract worker, and the second is the worker exchange. Let's look at the contracting worker first. It will cost you 5 energy for every worker you view. The screen will display this cost in addition to your current energy available. Click Confirm and you will be shown one at random. The first item to notice is the worker's name at the top of the screen. This will tell you the species of the worker, as well as its profession level. Profession levels for workers are the same as those for players, so this worker is an apprentice. Workers also have their own stats, including work speed, moving speed, luck, and stamina. Work speed is how quickly the worker can perform its assigned task. Moving speed is how quickly they can move across the map. Luck affects the chance at gathering or producing random or extra items, and stamina is how many times the worker can perform its task before you have to refill their energy. Note that workers also require lodging in the town you wish to purchase them in, as well as available silver. Silver can either be used from your inventory or from storage. Both will be shown here, and you can use either one to purchase the worker. If you do not like this worker, you may also view another one, although this will cost you an additional 5 energy. A pop-up will display showing the energy you still have left. Notice the new worker is a goblin rather than a giant, although they have the same profession level. I'll scroll through a few more workers while I explain what this means. Giant workers tend to have higher stamina, meaning that you can assign them to longer tasks without having to log in and refill their energy. Goblin workers tend to work faster, but have less stamina, meaning that they're better for shorter tasks that you need done quickly. Notice that this worker is a naive worker, and its name is White. Avoid these whenever you can, as naive workers cannot be promoted and are the lowest tier of worker, meaning that their stats are the worst you can get. I'll cover worker promotion shortly, but in the meantime, let's look at the worker exchange. To do this, first close out of the contracting window, as you cannot have both open at the same time. The worker exchange, unlike the worker contract, allows you to buy workers directly from other players. Notice that it is significantly easier to find higher level and higher profession tier workers here because players like to get the most profit out of their workers before putting them on the exchange. Let's talk a little more about worker tiers and types. Here you can see professional and skilled workers, as well as our first human worker. Human workers are often considered to be the best because they are the most well-rounded and have the most luck as compared to other types of workers, but they are also more difficult to obtain due to their low rate of appearance in the worker contracting. It is possible to get all types of workers through contracting, including the highest tier of workers, the Orange Artisan tier. Each tier will cost more money than the one before, and human workers are the most expensive, so be sure to have at least 150 silver if you plan to purchase one of the higher tiers. Workers purchased through the exchange from other players are significantly more expensive, but can be useful if you're looking for something specific. For example, here you can view the worker's skills. Workers begin with no skills and gain them as they gain in levels. Note that worker levels are separate from their profession tier. Workers will begin at level 0 and will rise to 30 as you have them perform tasks. Worker skills are randomized and have varying effects as shown here, which may increase their movement speed, allow them to recover energy randomly, or increase their luck. Notice that the skills also have their own tier levels ranging from C to A. This affects how much benefit the worker receives from that skill. Because of this, it is also possible for the worker to learn the same skill multiple times at varying tiers. This may or may not be beneficial to you depending on what kind of worker you are hoping to create. If you find a worker you like, you can buy it directly from the other player by clicking the purchase button to the right. You can also register workers here yourself if you have extras that you'd like to get rid of. This button is located at the top right of the screen. Notice that there is a difference between the workers you can buy and the workers you can sell. You can only sell workers who are of the same town as the work supervisor to which you are speaking, although you can buy from anywhere. You cannot register workers that are currently in the middle of a task, in the middle of a promotion, or that have less than full energy available. You also cannot register workers that have a professional tier of less than skilled, which is why you only see skilled and higher workers in the exchange. If you wish to view any workers that you have put up for other players to buy, simply click My Registrations on the left. You can return to viewing other people's workers by clicking the Market list. Let's back out of here for now and put some of this into practice. First, we're going to contract a worker. To save on cost, I'll be using the worker contracting rather than buying off the exchange. Click Hire Worker and Accept. Notice that it will tell you what type of worker you have and the town in which you have bought it. Remember that workers are relegated to specific towns. However, you can view and manage workers across all towns by opening your map and clicking the worker list at the bottom. Notice that our new worker now appears at level 1 in our main worker list. We could also view the workers for a specific town by clicking on that town in the map and then viewing the worker list from there, or using the drop-downs on the right. For now, let's look at firing a worker. If you decide you don't want your worker after all and don't want or can't put him on the worker exchange, it is possible to clear space by choosing Fire Selected at the bottom after selecting him in the main worker list. You will not be able to retrieve this worker again later, so be sure of your decision before you click Yes. Once you've fired a worker, he will be gone from your main worker list and you will have room to hire another worker in his place. Let's return to the worker exchange for a moment. If you would rather sell your worker on the exchange, remember that you will need to return to the work supervisor, select the worker exchange, click the register button, and choose a worker that is neither in the middle of a promotion test, in the middle of a task, lacking full energy, or below the skilled level. The only one available to us right now is the skilled human worker shown at the bottom here. You will have a chance to review the worker's skills and stats before placing him on the exchange. You can also see how much you will make if you sell the worker successfully. This price is determined by the worker's profession tier, level, and skills learned, so you cannot set it specifically. Click Register and confirm when you are ready to sell. If you decide not to sell the worker after all, simply click the Cancel button on the right of the screen and confirm when the pop-up appears. He will be removed from the worker exchange and once more be available for tasks. Let's take a look at the worker list on the map page before we wrap up. Here you can see that there is a yellow bar and a blue bar below the name of each worker. The yellow bar represents their energy level, which you can recover using the button shown here. Energy is required to perform any task and must be recovered using specific food items such as beer or oatmeal. You can recover the energy of all of your workers at once by clicking the Recover All button at the bottom. The new window will show you how many items you have to recover worker energy with. The first line will tell you how many workers' energy there is to recover, as well as how much energy it will take to recover all of them to full. The second line will tell you how much of that energy you can recover using the items available. In this case, we're able to recover all of it. Click Confirm, and the worker's energy will be filled until it reaches the max. Simply close the window and scroll down. Notice that the energy of workers that are currently performing a task was not recovered. You will have to wait until they finish performing their assigned task before you are able to recover their energy. Workers must also be finished with any task before you are able to promote them. Notice that a promotion button has appeared for this worker. Promotions are available every 10 levels, starting at 10, then 20, and finally at 30. Every time the worker is promoted, he has a chance to advance to the next professional tier. However, it is possible for the worker to fail this test. If the worker passes, he will be reset to level 1 and must relearn all of his skills. However, higher professional tiers mean a faster worker and better stats, so it's always a good idea to promote them as quickly as you can since there is the chance to fail. Notice that you can click the purple Repeat button beside any worker to have them automatically repeat the last task that they were given. This will save you time if you intend to have the same worker farm the same area over and over again. Notice that the blue bar begins to fill as soon as you hit the Repeat button. The blue bar represents the time remaining in the worker's current task and will fill from the left to the right as it nears completion. Once the worker begins a new task, this will start over. Also notice that there is a Repeat All button at the bottom. To have all of your workers repeat their last task, you can simply click this. If you decide that you do not want them to perform their queued tasks after all, you can click the red Cancel button next to each worker. However, the worker must always complete the task they are currently on. This means that the Cancel option is best used if you've queued a worker to perform the same task multiple times and don't want him to perform the iterations on which he hasn't already started. We'll talk more about workers in the next video, but for now, thanks for watching!